Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the previous episode, we did some trial things, and now we're on a quick recess break because we're trying to get the other two witnesses that could be potential witnesses to this trial. If you're hyped today's episode, make sure that like button supports the picture. Oh, there you are, Otto. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Gina? You sure about what you said in there? That the boss, you know, actually died the day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. As was I, possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked that all of you put together than all of you. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation, or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear, if it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on, and Dr. Scythe. I know. Anyway, it seems that the day before, Lord Von Sykes discovered his body. Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it, you had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in their trick. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of weekly £4 income. And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean? That's right, Suze, and it was me who took them in. Thanks to a tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the inspector have investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare set of weekly £4 income. Don't tar with them with that same brush as you, Sholmes. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Von Sykes for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Von Sykes, and Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we arrived at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he trying to achieve here today? All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over very shortly. Yes, you're right. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial, and he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're on a long way from the end of this trial yet. Are you ready then, Mrs. Sato? Yes.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We have resumed the closed court hearing of Barak Von Sykes, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asogi. My lord. Have you summoned the witnesses as requested? Yes, the two members of the Red-Headed League who plan and carry out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by the police carriage. Very good. Bailiff, usher the two men in the courtroom. That's a man? I thought that was a girl. These two men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court.
What did I say how his voice goes?
I am Fabian de Rousseau.
Rousseau? I don't know.
A descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice, France.
My name is Fabian de Rousseau. I'm just gonna go with whatever eating. I am the third son of the great familia de Rossi, the landowners from Napoli.
The two men first became acquainted on a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from Temesc are the future leaders of Europe. But, do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? Although, I'm making my mission to the better of the world by employing the little gray cells of my brain. That is all I'm trying to do, huh?
So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out?
You could say that.
Not bad, eh? He has the grand ideals, but the petty plans. The strange combination is the charm of the hilarious brothers. See, capo?
Listen to me, Peppino. I have two things to say to you.
Che? Are you about to tell me one of your grandy anecdotes? Evviva? Evviva!
Firstly, I want you to stop calling me the capo. And secondly, we are not the hilarious brothers, the serious business.
Che bello! There it is, the capo's trump card, a furrow bro. It is deep, capo? The furrow, the meaning of your words.
The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true?
Oui, c'est va. C'est va, c'est ca, c'est ça.
And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you explained to the fraud?
Allah, I will explain it. No, capo, leave it to me. As you see, we both had the vivid red hair, no? At school, we were teased for this without pity. The capo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse crying like the Trevi Fountain. Well, the dogs, one day, the world will respect us redheads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and weep.
C'est bien, Peppino, enough! I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London.
Yes, we saw that notice. It was this one, I believe, entitled to the Red-Headed League.
Oui, c'est ça. C'est va. I am honored that you have seen it.
Let me look it up because I feel like he's gonna say that a lot. It's... how do I say it? It's that. Yo, let me look it up. It states that the only condition for joining the league is having flaming red hair. And that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the league, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date, red-headed hopefuls gathered in the droves at the park specified in the advertisement. And from each person present, the pair took an application fee of 5 shillings.
And with the money to France, it was a plan most elegant, no?
No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned. Anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. Yo, chill on me on that. The park was described by one witness as a choke with red-headed folk like a coster's orange barrel. Why do I feel like it sounds familiar? And the day in all which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these two men spoke face to face with every single person present that day.
Oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life.
See, and now, every time I see the capo's hair, I feel sick to my stomach.
Anyway, why have we been summoned here today?
Sorry?
The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. Very good. So, Mr. De Rozon and Mr. De Rossi, you will now give your formal testimony for the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph.
Of course, we are always ready to help with the law.
The man in the photograph.
We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on live streams that day.
But I don't recall the man in the photograph. Hey, Capo!
No, I don't remember him. Obviously, he is dead now, but I assure you he was not at the park.
Oh, Laura, this victim has nothing to do with us.
You have a lot of answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place.
Okay, he's gotta explain us to that part. You given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present? Can you be certain?
Oui, I am quite certain. We did not interview the man.
Nobody looking like at this came to the park. This I can promise.
It must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however. Accordingly, the court has little confidence in your assurance.
Oof, with this little attitude, we get out nowhere, huh?
He's really a sulking now.
This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records any entry from the inspector's private diary dated the day before the incident. It reads Lime Street, Red-Headed League, undercover.
Ah, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, eh?
That is ridiculous.
There is no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, which means it's quite possible that when he was killed. Very well, defense may proceed with the cross-examination now. Yes, my lord. Alright. The man in the photograph. We had more than 1,000 red-eyed people assembled in the park. But I don't recall the man in this photograph. But I don't remember him, and obviously he is dead now, but I assure you he was not in this park. Hold it! But according to what you said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day?
Oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day.
Surely then, you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present?
Normally, the red hair is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around, then it's just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could give us, maybe then we will recall.
That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, huh? If there was a man with a red earpiece but his mustache did not match the color, then I do not think I would have forgotten him.
Kazuma said these two had only been shown that photograph and they'd been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed him just one other detail about the victim? For example, his fish and chips? I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember the situation, but what if I tell you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Do you remember a man who was eating the necessity?
Not really. I was looking only at the applicants. I would have noticed the fish and chips any more than the caviar and smoked salmon.
Or spaghetti. Me, I love the spaghetti.
Really? I had no idea.
Tell them again what you said before, Peppino.
See, Capo, see. I say it again and again.
Do I have to go back? Allora, this victim has nothing to do with us.
Hold it!
But we only have your word for that.
See, but what else can we do, huh?
True.
Oofa! We are not having much of fun these days. First we are arrested, then we are shown a horrible picture of a dead man. And now you question every single thing we say. We are the victims here. Hey, Capo!
No, you were caught carrying out a plot swindle on hundreds of innocent people.
Ugh, you had to bring that up, eh? It's not fair. Hey, Capo!
I think it's the middle one. You have a lot of answer for, Peter. It's your fault that we got caught in the first place. What do you mean by that?
Cavalo, you promised not to say, a capo.
After we had taken all the monies that day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of the tickets for the ferry to Dunkirk to my companion here. But he brought them there for the wrong day. Oops.
See, but it's not an easy mistake to make the first 31st.
Ooh, I have no sympathy for you. We were all day late for the boat because of our stupidity. And it's only because of this that the called great red-headed detective caught us. Eh?
Capo, you know what I think. This is the work of God. It's a holy punishment, eh?
Peppino, for the last time. This is not open punishment. This is your only fault.
Ah!
Don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You are making me sick with the anger.
Maybe I make a mistake, huh? But when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is faster.
And I've seen the evidence. Okay, we gotta press on the middle one to see if we can get anything more.
What do you think, Mr. Naruto?
Well, if it was in the inspector's diary, it seems likely that they must have gone to luncheon that day. And yet, these two both claim they didn't see him.
I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies.
Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Something plausible is their specialty. They may be lying to avoid implicated in this case as well.
Surely if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught.
Well, yes, you do have a point there. It seems to me like we need more information. Let me see. More. Let me see. Fast forward so we can go to those options again. Let's see. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember the situation. What if I tell you that the man's name was Gregson? The man in the photograph is a Monsieur Grayson. Yes.
Names, they are boring. I did not listen to any of them.
Oh.
It was not a real interview, huh? It was just for a show. Why would I remember the names?
That's right. That changes nothing. The man in the photograph was not there, and as we have already said. I see. It seems there's a little to be gained from pursuing the point further. Sounds like what you said before, Peppino. Okay, let's try the last option. His profession.
Hold it!
Let's see what happens. Get to it. His profession. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember the situation. But what if I tell you that the man in the red hair earpiece was actually a detective? The man in the photograph, a detective? Yes. It would appear that he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Sorry, but this changes. There you go!
Excuse me!
Something to add, Mr. De Rossi?
Je, see. I am always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper.
What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance?
Eh? What did I just say? About the detective?
Yes, that... Keep your mouth shut, Pampino. You have said enough already.
But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said I am an inspector from Scotland Yard.
What? Good lord. Order! Explain this vault-face in your testimony, witness.
It's simple. A man who was at the park said to us that he was an inspector.
There was no such man.
Mada, what are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten, eh?
I have forgotten nothing. Nobody likes they came to the park.
Basta, Capo, basta. You beat me at many things, but not two. The memory and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat a pasta, no one is a pasta.
Oh, you are inferior to me in every other way.
Objection.
What did he say? Trupta, the damage is done.
Indeed it is, sir.
There was a man came to the park and said he was expected from Scotland Yard. However, he looked like nothing the man in the photograph. He was someone else.
How can you be so sure?
Because, to start with, his face was completely different.
See, it's true, it's true. The man who came was a younger. His face was clean shaven. His eyes were sadder. His chin was thinner.
No resemblance whatsoever then.
Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof.
See, the couple here, he doesn't take a no-nonsense, eh?
But he was well prepared. He said he had identification.
Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification? That is most unconvincing. Sorry, my lord? Also, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question. Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity?
Clearly, the papers were fake.
Certo, capo, you were a genius. As we say in Italia, it makes a thief to recognize another, eh?
And what happened after he announced that he was a detective?
He became very annoying. He said, you are under investigation. So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park.
It was a fantastico. And look, here's the identification.
So you stole it from the man?
He had it coming. He made us very scared. But he was not as you say he was.
Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered as evidence.
But I like them.
Now, let us return to the witness's testimony. What do we got? Open sesame! Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification card is. Can you chill for once? ID 997. Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson? Wait, what?
This Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me.
But how?
The department identification number details are all correct as well.
Since when have you known those?
Do you mean to say? I know it seems incredible, but yes. I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard.
But that's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all. ID number 997. Oh no. He's dead now, but I assure you he was not at the park, but I can't remember and photograph. We had it, blah blah. Although the victim has nothing to do with us, it's gotta be this one. It has to be that one.
Objection!
I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade? What is your attention here, counsel? Is this really a fake or is it genuine? That's the question. Which we can't answer ourselves.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. Hold it!
That is the boss. No question about it.
It can't be. As I suspected, the undercover detective who attended the red-headed league enrollment of the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation.
The law!
Order!
But if the boss had an identification stolen, he would have reported straight away. I mean, he was always on me about it. If you lose something, report it at once, he said.
Could it be then?
That the inspector was physically unable to report it?
Physically? What are you saying?
Unable to. You're not suggesting.
Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had the chance to report his identification stolen.
No!
The man did say that he had to take him out.
Order!
Defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? He's crying.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
Pull yourself together, Peppino. Mon Dio, you can behave a little more like a master criminal, Zazon, no?
Well, now I wish I had to return to Italia. Well.
Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, I...
Lumit, stop with your whining and start talking.
Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story and consider it great detail.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
But you will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome. You will dry out your eyes and testify again about these identification papers and the precise circumstances under which you came by them.
For crying out loud. The detective and the identification.
The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for a night on our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case.
We took the man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours.
There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go.
He spent a night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, really.
This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man?
But no, no. It was not like a prison. He was a very comfortable and calm and happy. Hey, couple.
It was never part of my plan. I swear it.
Oofa! So you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the ferry wrong? By one little day?
I do not think it was your problem, Peppino. I knew it.
No, por favor, couple. It's not a fair.
You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen.
I don't believe this. How could I have been a real detective?
Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
So on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this pair's hideout. Detective and identification. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night in our secret hideout.
Hold it!
Do you realize what you're saying?
You have to believe me. I never intended that to happen, and I'm sure the detective did not intend it either.
Do you think?
But there was nothing else I could do.
Z, nothing else. That was our first crime for the couple. He was at the end of his wits.
I have told you before, Peppino, that is not the way to describe a criminal mastermind.
What about this hideout of yours?
An old empty house behind a sub park on Lime Street.
We rented the place for 2 days. It was an inspired idea by the couple here.
An impulsive idea, I would say.
No, not impulsive, inspired. A couple.
What am I supposed to say to that, oh Peppino?
And it was in the house described that you confined Inspector Gregson, was it?
But you have to remember, I was under the impression that it was a pretender, not a real inspector.
That doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there?
No, you are right, but we couldn't be completely certain.
You know, I didn't think he was a real detective. I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took the man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm. Come on.
Hold it!
Let's see. That being this identification book here, correct?
Z, that's the one.
What made you believe that it was a forgery?
I never seen a real one, of course. But he was so suspicious this is a man. Oh Lord, I was thinking it must be falso. A capo.
It's just as Peppino said. We were convinced it was not a genuine.
And so together the hilarious brothers we took a man captive.
All we did was shove him inside a locked room. Then when we made the preparation for transfer all the money.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Hold it!
What do you mean by a little tussle exactly?
Huh? It was nothing. It's just a minor incident.
The falso inspector, he was a real piece of work, eh, capo?
What happened?
Oofa, it was a disaster. We gave him a nice room, and what does he do to her? In the middle of the night, he tries to escape through a ventilator.
Can you blame him?
We chased him and been sure we caught him again.
Can you blame us?
Wait, you didn't shoot the man in your haste, did you?
What do you think we are? Of course not. I simply caught him all again and took him back to this room.
Excuse me.
Mr. De Rossi, is something wrong?
Hey, me?
Something Mr. De Rosso just said seemed to make you, seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was that all about?
Cavalo, at times like this, you don't want to have the capo after you, believe me. And I speak from a personal experience, sir.
Personal experience?
That is enough, Peppino. There is no need to say more.
The truth is, the night of before we put the Red-Headed League plan into action, I was scared, but it was not fair to the capo, but I tried to run away.
It's a shame you didn't manage it.
But the capo here, he came after me like the turbine, and he dragged me back to the house, kicking and screaming. I still have bruises to prove it. Hey, capo?
Didn't we encounter someone bruises?
Bruises, you say?
Ah, you wanna see? You wanna see a fantastical bruise?
That's enough, Peppino. No one wants to look at any part of you.
What to do, huh? I show you or I don't. I show you or I don't.
You do, now.
Laura, if everyone wants to see, then I do it.
It's the same bruise that we saw earlier.
You see, a very visible, eh?
That red ring around your neck. You got that when you were dragged back to the house?
See, the capo, sometimes he is a very rough and...
I said that's enough. Peppino's like it's nothing to do what we are talking about here. You have my word.
Yes. What is your opinion, counsel?
About this red ring around Mr. De Rossi's neck. I wonder, does it all matter? Mr. De Rossi, I'm going to have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about the mark on your neck.
Aye, capo, see, everyone is interested in what I say.
Very well. You will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. De Rossi.
See, if you really want to know.
Because we saw it in someone else's testimony.
Hold it!
Are you saying that red mark was caused by...
See, a big collar made from the leather.
A leather collar. Is this true, Mr. De Rosso?
What? We had Saint Bernard at home when I was younger. It is a souvenir from that time with a very strong chain.
A strong chain? And you put that around your friend's neck?
I'm sorry, I was so angry that he was leaving me alone.
You did not have to tie the chain to a leg of a bed, though. I would not have tried to run again.
You didn't do that to Inspector Gregson as well, did you?
Treated the people as equals. It's the capo here's motto, eh?
It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison all of a sudden.
The capo is tough, but the capo is rough.
I shouldn't have done it.
So, the following morning when you released the inspector,
he had a red ring around his neck, just like me.
Peppino, s'il vous plaît. Sifu play. Leave it now.
Now you know, huh? A capo here, you don't want to tangle with him, eh? But before the inspector is not so bad.
They said there's a red ring around his neck. Well, you can hardly see it though. Still don't know who that guy is. He spent the night in a nice room and it was nothing like
Hold
prison.
it!
You took away the man's freedom. However comfortable you may like the sound, you were still holding him prisoner.
If you say that, then I say this. There is something that takes away our freedom too. The lack of money. So we are the prisoners as well, huh? All of us.
Huh?
No money, no freedom. This is the truth. It makes me mad and it makes me sad. What can we do?
Well, if you feel so disenfranchised, take money to court. It will cost you, of course.
Ufa, there you have it. You see, that is why we need the Red-Headed League. To fight for the justice.
Perhaps he has a point. No, Mr. Naruto?
All we did was to give the man a comfortable place to sleep for the night. And you say it was prison, huh?
Perhaps he has a point again.
No again, Mr. Naruto. You should have heard him snoring. My God, if anyone was disturbed, it was us.
Not much to go on, really. Their testimony does make me wonder, you know. About the pocket watch belonging to the inspector, I mean? What? The one he treasured so much, apparently. If he was confined but not restrained, as the witness applying, he would still have been able to wind his watch. That's very true, yes. So did the inspector actually die while he was being held captive by these redheads? In which case, is it possible that these two young men are responsible for Inspector Gregson's? To be honest, I find it that hard to believe. Perhaps we should try to find out exactly what happened.
Hold it!
Do you realize what you're saying? Did we already went through this? Yeah, we already did. Yeah, we already went through that one. Get to the point, Chief. We took the man's identification and shut him in the room next to ours. He tried to escape, but the captain put the collar on him and he dragged him back like we did. My question is that if he were to leave a mark, then we would be able to see it, right?
Objection!
So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito.
No, it was not like that. It was hardly a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was only...
However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains.
What inconsistency is this, court?
I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph on the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see that there is no red ring visible around his neck.
But that makes no sense. It was me who took a collar off the man in the morning. And I saw the red bruises on his neck, just like I have.
Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we expect to see bruising of the victim who was put in the collar more recent than Mr. De Rossi.
Indeed, that is most peculiar.
Well, what did we tell you, huh? We say this from the beginning. Many times.
Peppino is right. The man in the photograph is someone different to the man we have captured that night.
Order!
It would appear then that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on live stream posing as an incognito inspector was not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection!
If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution makes the assertion itself. And we also know that the inspector had made a note about the Redhead League in the diary for that day, which certainly means we can't divorce the two events completely.
The inconsistency notable difference is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Grazer whom these two red-haired gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real Inspector's identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, Counsel?
The whole thing defies explanation. It's for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Mr. Naruto, because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point out to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned out in the park in the Redhead League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe.
Good gracious. Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruto.
So why don't you help us all see whatever truth it is that you have apparently seen? Who exactly was the inspector that appeared before Mr. De Rosa and De Rossi? Though it seems incredible, I admit, the undeniable fact is to point to one thing. Since no bruising can be seen in the victim's neck, the person who seen the two redheaded men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection!
On the contrary, I haven't finished yet. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on livestream found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's right. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the couple dragged him from a pillar to post the dog collar.
Mon Dieu, Pepino, I was not harsh as you say, huh?
So, who was the false inspector, eh? Who was he?
Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post haste. Who did the witness encounter in the park, posing as an inspector?
Take that!
Goodness me, isn't that...
One of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passersby.
Objection!
What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses, is this the man or not?
What's that happened to his lip?
Huh? See, this is a man is not for Red-Headed League, eh? He's looking like a twisted lip league, no?
Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead.
It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noticed something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. The defense demands that Mr. Gossip Day be brought back to the stand.
Order! Bailiff, bring the fourth witness back into the courtroom. Immediately.
Well, we'll hold it off right here. Like and subscribe. Shark6 and I'm signing